Alright, match one with kind of my own take on how I would update Burn at the moment. We'll see how it plays out. Pretty good opening hand, obviously. One Swift Spear into Burn spells, potentially Searing Blaze here. Off on this, grabbing. Pass. So Murktide right off the bat, perhaps. Just gonna go ahead and shock this in. Suspend Riftbolt, hit you in the face. Pass. Leaving the fetch land to be able to get a. Oh, it's the mirror match. Got it. That's just for one here. Doop. Okay, we are down to one card in hand, which is terrifying. Going to 11. Alright, well that's not a bad card to have against a tapped out Burn opponent. Alright, look at Plains, Parlor. That can go to the graveyard. So we force them to chump block and then play Riftbolt. I mean, I could still easily die here if I have follow-up spells. One goes to 2. Am I dead? Okay. Pass. Yep, that'll do. Do you have any cards for Firecraft? Not really. So I guess we just hit submit. Select to play first. 7, we're gonna mulligan this one. This one's fine on 7, put back Sunbed Canyon. Keep Sunbed Canyon, suspend Rough Bolt just to get it out of our system. Bolt to the face. Pass. Sure, hit me for 1. Flying out again, not a good place to be. So they have land Searing Blaze here. Pass. Taking to hold on to land for Searing Blaze purposes. Opponent could have Deflecting Palm, I suppose. Boop. Yeah, I really don't like these Roiling Vortices. But we really have nothing in our sideboard for this matchup. It's not impossible to win with Burn on the draw, but it is, or not the Mirror on the draw, but it is a good bit more difficult. So we'll keep this hand. Swift Spear go. Kind of leaves me in a weird spot, right? So I think we play Goblin Guide and go. We don't know how many like actual factual creatures they'll have, because they could just be running an 8 creature deck. And if this is Searing Blaze, they kind of like to get max punishment here. Yep. Mm-hmm. And they suspended a revolt, so a good chance we could be dead here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating, but it is what it is. Looking at this opening hand, one lander, try to mulligan those on the... This hand's a little bit more difficult to gauge. I guess on the draw we'll risk it putting back a Screw the Critics. Elf. Well, if we happen to draw a second land, this Eidolon could be good. We're just going to fall too far behind this matchup. Alright, so do we even want anything in this matchup? Vortex is pretty bad. Ragavan's pretty middling. Snaring Bridge. No. Blood Moon's kind of dumb, but because they play so many non-basics, sometimes I can get got. Yeah, we'll keep this hand. Not ideal, but still pretty reasonable overall. Swiftspear and the Searing Blaze on their turn 1 play. Snaring Bridge is kind of a backup to draw the game out a little bit. Yeah, I gotta love that random BS card that they think actually swings the burn matchup their way. Pass. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is where we fetch our elegant parlor. Definitely gets left on top just because it's simply a burn spell that matters. Pass. Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm. Which the one. Collected company, quarter calling. Good. Sure. This will gain them like 3 life. Put them back to 4. Go ahead. Gain another 3 life. Go to 7. Yay, fetch land. Go. Mm-hmm. Fun game. Seriously brought in Chalice. Okay. Got a lot of freaking Chalice? Sure. Fortunately, I don't think we have the ability to win this game anymore, so we'll depend on our opponent being stupid. Basically, they need to get Leaf Crown Visionary down and, for some reason, just decide to start drawing cards. And for some reason, them not have either Elvish Reclamation Sage or Boseiju in their deck. Let's go ahead and pass. No reason to cast it at the moment. I guess the moon. Go. Mm-hmm. Should have cast this before we cast Magus, by the way. So they did have a Besager in the deck. Good for them. Alright, matchup number 3. Just hoping for a little better luck. Hand's got a pretty good start. Swift Spear. And a Swift Spear plus Rip Bolt. A couple of Boros Charms to back it up. Okay, so we're either up against Rhinos or Zoo, most likely. So we'll find out probably in the first turn or two. Still could be either one. Not really giving any away information here by doing this because I'm not doing anything this turn. Okay, they still have Leyline Bindings, so that still tells us nothing. If they have Scion, then still could be either deck. But given the lack of anything on turn 1, and, well, lack of anything here on turn 2, if they don't play, actually, let's lead on Lightning Helix, I suppose, here. I feel like we're getting Rhinos next turn. Yep. No reason to do anything here. Got a tap right for your Valen Outburst there, friend. This is the annoying part about this ley line, is the fact that they don't have to take any damage from their lands, basically. So, Scion. Scion means we lose. Yay! Alright, so Magus and Blood Moon in, Snaring Bridge in, Chalice and Draft Magistrate in. Man, we can bring in basically our entire friggin' sideboard now. Want these. Searing Blaze is pretty bad. Sandfire no, Smash no, Firecraft maybe. Yep. Yes. I mean, it's a burn hand, so we'll keep it. No landline, well, that's good at least. Mm-hmm. Lead on this. It goes to 10. Goes to 9. At least they finally have to take damage this game with their lands. Mm-hmm. Do you have force of negation? Guess we'll find out in a minute. Alright. Don't think we changed anything. Could potentially board out these Ragavans on the draw, but it's like we're the ones mulliganing this game. Guess we're trying this one. Not a huge favorite of this hand, but keep. Put back Lava Spike for now. Land. Organ revealed, looks like. Yep. Guess force of negation. Nope. Pause, pause, pause. Yeah, we just can't beat this nonsense. Alright, matchup number 4. I guess this hand is the die by my own hand. 2 pain lands and 2 rolling vortexes. What could possibly go wrong? Ah, Burn Mirror. That's what could go wrong. Alright, pass. Mm-hmm. Taking lots and lots of damage this turn. 15 down to 11. Swift Spear on stop. Alright. Mm-hmm. Go to 9. Take the opportunity to gain some life here. One goes to 6. Mm-hmm. Okay. Once again, not really anything for this matchup, so opening 60. It's pretty. Seems decent in the mirror. The one thing it is lacking is a turn 1 interactive spell for a creature. But then again, when you only have 4 bolts in your deck to deal with a turn 1 creature right away, unfortunately, that's kind of the part of the price of doing business as a burn player right now. You don't have anything like Chain Lightning or that ilk, so. I guess the nice part for us is the severe lack of damage our lands will deal us. We'll draw a Goblin Guide, which is perfectly fine if they take that. They choose not to, so I'm guessing this Goblin Guide is just getting bolted. but still kind of did its job with basically bolting our opponent. So hopefully this is Eidolon. Nope, Sanctifier. Go ahead and pass here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. Boros charm them here on end step. Bolt you. Helix. But if they ever play a creature, they're currently dead. Well, creature that isn't another Sanctifier in the deck. A good bit of our deck just kills them on the spot. So Swift Spear is not really one of those cards that does, but at the same time, it will at least get through a point of damage most likely, or eat a burn spell, either of which is a fine result. Play this fetch land out. We could die here. There is a good bit of cards here that would kill us. Helix is certainly annoying. Why wouldn't they attack there? Vortex would just leave us dead, right? If they attack with both creatures, then we just die to Vortex, so I think we pass here. I think we lose this game, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was fun. Really don't like Roiling Vortex in the mirror, so I'll just try the Firecrafts. I don't think they're actually good, but I'm not bringing in this card for this matchup. Like, the problem with Sanctifier, and you kind of saw it for our opponent, like, you have to basically bolt yourself twice a lot of times to get this card down. It's just not good in the mirror. It's always rough in the mirror match to mulligan this much. It's not to say they can't win on a mulligan to 5. You certainly have some draws with burn that can win on a mull to 5, but considering this Helix basically undoes one spell, kind of rough. Mm-hmm. Was going to go ahead and Helix that just for maximum mana output, but I think to maximize the chances of us hitting a card we can cast, naturally. I mean, it's good that they don't draw that card, but suspect a Searing Blaze is our future here. Sure. So the reason we're doing things this way instead of putting the untap land in play is this allows me to bolt plus Surveil. So maximizing our chances of drawing a spell next turn. Yeah, that looks like a card I want. Gonna hold on to this land just for Searing Blaze effects. How about I play a spell that basically says counter target Boros Charm? Seems pretty good. guess we try to go for lethal. If they have Helix, more power to them. They kind of have to cast it here. Otherwise, they're dead. Well, I guess they can cast in response to this too, but... Should have too. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty clear we don't have lethal here, or we would just kill them. And we could potentially die here. This is so stupid. Mm-hmm. Certainly a magic card. This basically means they can't cast a spell the rest of the game. They can't hit us, or they die on the crackback. They can't cast anything, so this, as they say, is an Eidolon lock. Unless they have something like Sekenzen in their deck, which is highly unlikely. We can't cast any of the creatures, though, or we just basically die ourselves. So, fun game to Magic. Yep. Puts us to 2. They cast anything and try to kill us in response. They die the Eidolon trigger. So. Nothing like Fire Blast or anything like that in the format. I guess they could play that 4 mana sacrifice a mountain, deal 5 damage to target creature kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really fitting that the last opponent for this league is named Count Cracula. I'm recording anyway, dear. But that's just kind of what this league's been on. So. No, I'm talking to myself. This league has been an absolute dumpster heap. And my last round opponent's name is Count Cracula.
Oh, I like it.
Of course you would.
I knew you were going to say that.
I have no idea what deck goes. Shadowy Backstreet. Pass. I have no idea what Orzhov deck is even in the format other than maybe a hammer deck. So, we'll play our monkey. I have a feeling this is going to be a Bowmasters, right? Gotta attack anyway, so it is what it is. Sure. Eidolon, go. Never seen a telegraphed, I have an Orcish Bowmasters more in my life. But it is what it is. I have a brew, but it has Orcish Bowmasters in it. So it's not really a brew, it's just a terrible mid-range deck. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They could be playing terrible, equally terrible cards like Reprieve and Mana Tithe here. So. Alright, so terrible Orzhov homebrew. Not sure I have many cards for this matchup. Let's get brought back. Alright, so let's presume they have grief or nonsense like that. Sanctifier might be okay. Blood Moon and Magus are probably fine. Iron Bridge, not so much. Maybe bring in the 2 Sanctifiers. Monkey's gonna be probably pretty bad on the draw. Especially against an Orcish Bowmaster's deck. And then Searing Blaze may not be the best. Because we don't know how many creatures they actually have. They might have like Solitude. I'll try this one. Really shouldn't only get 6 1-land hands, but this hand has enough to it that we should probably keep it. They probably surveil the top, land to the top. Shocker. Even though they probably would have gotten a little bit more value by actually surveilling that into the graveyard and then doing what they do. Yay. And I guess prismatic ending. Nothing says, let me lose to your pile of jank quite like double basic mountain and into a chalice. Sad part is we're still not out of this game. If we actually draw a white source, we're not out of this game. That's... Hmm. Like, what is their deck even trying to remotely beat? Venser's Journal. What the heck does that even do? Ah, okay. Alright, moving on. Definitely want the smashes. Probably want the wear tears. Sanctuary Fire and Beck's just not the best card in this matchup. Searing Blaze is okay. What card is not good here? Select play first. First time our elegant Parlor could get us a little bit. Sure. Why am I not surprised that their terrible wannabe black-white control deck has a Remand wannabe card? Chalice on one. Okay. Trigger. Spent Rift Bolts. Okay. Mm-hmm. So taking a real kind of hard look at this list, we made some changes from the last time I played my own list, not one of Augie's RC test lists. And the main deck didn't change a whole lot. I trimmed the Bone Crusher Giant for a second Eidolon just to get a little bit more Cascade hate into the party. The other change I made was to trim the Fiery Islet and a basic mountain for an 8th fetch land and Elegant Parlor. Now, Elegant Parlor is the new Surveil mountain land, part of the mountain land cycle from Murders at Karlov Manor. It was fine. I know there's a lot of times where, especially in slightly longer games, I'm fetching for tap steam vents to thin. So it did appear in our opening hand once in that last game. Didn't really punish our curve terribly much. It certainly cost us a little bit of tempo, so that is something to look for as we're testing this. I think I'm going to run back that same mana base the next league we run and just kind of work on shifting things a little bit. The rest of the deck, with the exception of the Ragavans, the rest of the deck is pretty standard Boros Burn. Even kind of the 2-2 split on Eidolon and Roiling Vortex. I like having access to both. I don't think either one's fantastically positioned right now, but they're both reasonable against Rhinos. Well, at least normal Rhinos. I don't know about the new version currently. Beyond that, the rest of the deck is just pretty stock in the main deck. The sideboard, I think the main thing that needs to change is this Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon for right now has to go. Amulet's on a bit of a downtick because of the presence of so many Blood Moons and Rhinos and all this other nonsense. So Amulet's on a bit of a downtick. I don't know that I want to be playing the Blood Moon Magus. That was mainly kind of quasi-anti-Amulet tech. And if you really wanted to play anti-Amulet tech, Tunneling Aegis is probably a little bit better than Blood Moon. And Blood Moon doesn't really catch that many people. It theoretically could help against these domain decks, but it's a little slow, and we're not exactly a deck equipped to really take advantage of Blood Moon all that much. It was just something I was kind of testing, and they've been okay to middling. I think it might also be time. I shaved a Sanctifier in this league to get another hate card in for the Cascade matchups. Scam is on the downward trend a little bit now that Rhinos is kind of on the upward trend currently. I think these three might be on the chopping block. The problem is I don't know how to solve the Leyline into Scion problem. That got us a couple times last league. It got us again this league in that third game against Rhinos. I just don't know how Burn can adjust to that particular opening. Now, yes, I know it's kind of like the scam openings. Sometimes if they have it, you're just going to lose. But unfortunately, Burn is a deck that is kind of susceptible to things like that. The rest of the league, I mean, we lost to a Burn player who was on their way to a 5-0. It happens. We didn't really have anything in the sideboard for the mirror. I refused to bring in Sanctifier. It just causes you to take too much damage for basically a protection from red creature that hits for 2 a turn, doesn't have haste, doesn't have any other onboard effects other than, says block target Goblin Guide or Monastery Swiftspear. If I wanted to get back into something for the mirror matches, Core Firewalker would probably be the card. Another path card we can consider is Path. That Elves matchup, so we kind of conceded game one a little early, but we got stuck on one land, and they were just going to kind of roll us as it was. Game two, they mulliganed to 5, found their Leyline of Life Force, Leyline of Vitality, and that card's just going to gain them a bunch of life throughout a game. When our kind of anti-creature tech in this build was Ensnaring Bridge, instead of something like Path to Exile, Searing Blood, some versions of Run, anything like that. Like, it bought us time, but when that Chalice on 2 came down, we basically effectively lost the ability to burn them out. And it kind of countered the only way we had to win the game. And that was if they drew out their deck, basically. And they had Beseju, which is just kind of a free hate card for Ensnaring Bridge that somebody's going to find anyway. I mean, it did buy us, like, infinite turns, which Ensnaring Bridge is kind of there to do to kind of drag out games. But it's a lot more effective against, Scam, and is it Murktide, and even to a lesser extent Rhinos, because they don't have ways of recouping life loss like that Elves things did. But those decks also have more answers. They have Leyline Bindings, or Brazen Borrowers, or Otawarus, or more copies of Beseju, or, etc. So, remains to be seen how Ensnaring Bridge will done. It's done well enough that I think it's a fine card to leave in your sideboard for right now. I'm not sure what adjustments I would make currently for the next league, but I do know I want to keep the land base intact. I think it might be right to run like 7 fetch lands, and then the 2 Sacred Founders, the 2 Mountains, the 1 Elegant Parlor, 4 Inspiring Vantage, and then maybe 1 Fiery Islet, just to like kind of maximize the utility you get out of your lands. Not sure on that one. Another strategy might be time to bring back the green splash and splash for a card like Destructive Revelry. It's a little bit more flexible than Smash in Wear Tear, with obviously a little bit of a cost to the mana base. Or what is that stupid card? Pick Your Poison, that forces you to sacrifice an enchantment, an artifact, or a flying creature. All of those might be, routes we kind of have to go against the Scion Leyline package that we just continue to get smacked around by. But it's kind of where I leave off. It's our second disappointing run in a row with Burn. Sometimes you go through these lulls. And Burn, if you look at the results from the RC, Burn did not do well. I think, despite Augie, which thanks to Augie for their support for the channel, but despite Augie's winning record, I think Burn overall had like a 42 or 43% win rate. And then like almost every major matchup except Team Rhinos, I think, was even, and Scam was like slightly above even, but like every other matchup, Burn just got absolutely smoked. Now, open deck lists certainly does not favor Burn. Burn is a deck that is susceptible to a certain range of cards, and if your opponent's better able to mulligan towards the cards they need, and Burn isn't typically a deck that has that many like A+ cards. Burn is a deck that very much, most of their cards do the same thing. They deal damage in different forms. Sure, you could like quasi-mulligan for Roiling Vortex and Eidolon against Cascade decks, or in your sideboard configurations maybe structure it a little bit better, but I don't think open decks particularly favors Burn. But I think the takeaway from this league is the Elegant Parlor is certainly worth testing. I don't think you want more than 1. I think the Magus Blood Moon plan is too cute and its time has passed when Amulet's on the downtick. And the other thing is, what's the solution, or what is a way of attack for the Scion domain Leyline plan? Ensnaring Bridge is certainly a card, but that just like buys you time. That doesn't deal with the problem. Do you have any thoughts on that? send down in the comments. But I think that's just something, unfortunately, that's going to require additional testing, or maybe just hope the fad kind of goes away. I mean, drawing Leyline in most of those decks is pretty bad in the mid to late game, so that is a problem. But the upside with 1-mana Leyline bindings, or a nigh indestructible 4/4 flyer with lifelink, first strike, all that nonsense, pretty decent upside. But anyways, if you like Modern Burn content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you for next week's video.